Okay, I've been pretty blunt about this board term limits ordinance that Fort Wayne City Council passed about 10 weeks ago. I kind of thought it was silly then. I kind of still think it's silly now. I don't know, perhaps Fort Wayne City Council thought so too, because the council voted to remove this 10-week-old board term limits ordinance rather recently. Fort Wayne City Councilman and also your Republican candidate for mayor of Fort Wayne, Tom Didier, joining us live right now to walk us through all of this. Good morning, Tom.
Well, Kayla, how are you this fabulous cloudy morning?
You know what? I'm doing great because technically today is my Friday. I'm off tomorrow, and I'm glad to have you on this morning because truly, Tom, I need you to help me make sense of all of this. But before we dive in, I do want to back up a little bit here because this bill implemented term limits for city council appointees. I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. These would be, appointments for boards and commissions, things like that. Yeah. How many terms were these appointees limited to with this ordinance?
Well, when I put my amendment in, it was expanded a little bit to help the people that only had 1 year because they would have only been on maybe 2 years total because they had 1 year. There's 1 year terms. So I tried to make it a little bit more palatable for people so they could get a sense of, if you get on a board, you want to be able to, be on it for a little bit so you can really get an idea of what the board is like. And, the first year you're kind of, listening and, really trying to, focus in on it. So it didn't really give you a lot of time. So that's why I did the amendment. And really to backtrack a little bit, Kayla, I was kind of on your side in regards to, I didn't really think we needed to do this. Whatever you wanted to.
Right.
I mean, there was no ins and outs. We all had choices in regards to what we wanted to do with this. I think the reason I voted for it was because Jason Arp was planning on voting for it, and that they would have had the votes to get it passed. And I talked to Jason. I said, Jason, if you do this for the mayor, it probably would be on board with this. And he said, yeah, I'll do this for the mayor's, appointees and commissions. And so I said, okay, I'll vote for it. But I really wasn't on board with it either. I'm kind of like in the same ballpark that you're playing in. So
yeah,
I just didn't think it didn't have the right intent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I could see pros and cons to this. I really could, Tom. And I know we talked about some of those here on the air kind of initially when that first vote was going through. But my issue from the get-go, and I think you had this concern as well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but and this is kind of why I thought it was sort of silly from the beginning, was the fact that this ordinance would only impact city council appointees to boards and commissions. It wouldn't impact,
Correct.
Mayoral appointments to the exact same boards and commissions. So when you initially voted in favor of this, were you voting along with, Jason Arp, as you just mentioned, thinking that you would be able to level the playing field with mayoral appointments as well?
That's really what I was getting at, because, when it came back and the mayor vetoed it, and then, the person that put it forward, which was Councilwoman Chambers, when she flip-flopped on it and she went with the mayor's veto, then I said to myself, well, this is not what we talked about. So I thought to myself, I get it that, his boards and commissions, we can't really set a precedence. And Glenn Hines spoke very eloquently at the council meeting on Tuesday night. The mayor and the administration, they could have, said, yes, we'll do this. Again, I wasn't really totally in favor of the whole process anyways, because I felt you had a choice in doing it.
Right.
But, if we're going to do this, don't flip-flop on your vote and then, put it back on my hands. So then I said to Jason afterwards, I said, Jason, we got to reverse this thing because this is not what we said we would do. I mean, I'm only going back to what I said originally. I wasn't going to vote for the original bill in the first place. I only put the amendment in place because I wanted the amendment there so that if you were going to do this, you wanted to have longer terms for at least the people that had 1 year terms, they would be on long enough. And the third thing was is if we did it with the mayor, and he was going to agree to it, great. If not, then we're just going to go back to what we were doing before. And then, hey, if I end up being mayor and I decide, okay, we can do this in a different way, then we'll go that route. But right now, I want it to be the same level playing field for the council as well as the mayor's office. It's just how it has to be.
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue with this. It was initially implemented and voted for 6-2, but then when council did try to implement the same rules for the Mayor Henry vetoed it. So hence now we are seeing this rescinding of this ordinance. So I guess, Tom, where do things stand now? Because there was this vote to rescind the ordinance. It went through 5-4, but that vote still needs to be finalized, right?
It'll be finalized next week. I mean, I highly doubt the mayor would veto it, but, he could veto it, and then you'd need six votes to overturn it. But it would kind of be an oxymoron in regards to, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander here.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine the mayor would do something of that nature. But, Jason was kind of concerned from that standpoint. But I'm looking at it as like, well, why would you do that if you're not going to do it for your own board appointees yourself? Then why would you do it to us?
It's still so silly to me, Tom. I'm sorry. I can't even keep a straight face.
I know. We're taking more time in regards to what we really need to focus on.
Yeah, they're a bigger fish to fry.
We really need to focus on what Michelle and Glenn and what Sharon and everyone's talking about. We really need to focus on getting more people on the boards and commissions. I have no problem with putting different people on boards and commissions. They're wanting more authenticity, and I get it. We do need more people.
Yeah.
Glenn even mentioned it. He brought up several people in regards to black members that would have liked to have been on boards and commissions, gave them to the mayor, 40 different people, and he didn't put one person on any of these boards. So that's on him, not on us.
Really quick, Tom, because I'm way out of time, but I want to ask you this question, okay? I wanted real quick. So the finalized vote you just said needs to happen next week. It was already voted on to rescind it. That passed 5-4. Do you see anyone changing their minds and flip-flopping, speaking of flip-flops, before that final vote?
No, I think we're going to be just fine. I think that everybody's on the same page, and we're going to work something out after November. If I end up winning the election, that's my plan. So we'll go that route. And really, it just comes down to choice, Kayla. We just have to make sure that we get more choices in regards to it. And I would be more than happy and open to put whoever's on the board that I see fit that will do a really good job, because it's not always easy being on these boards. But, hey, I know you're a Penn State fan. I'm going to leave on that note. I hope Penn State does well. I'm a Notre Dame fan. Go ND. Take care. Have a great
Fair
day.
enough. Thanks, Tom. That is Fort Wayne City Councilman Tom Didier, of course, also your Republican candidate for mayor of Fort Wayne, joining us here on WOWO.
Podcasts by Federated Media.